Last hour, Bournemouth will make stance clear on Spurs replacing Postecoglou with Andoni Iraola. Welcome back to Tottenham News Today channel. Spurs are big fans of Andoni Iraola, who has won many admirers this season. But the North London club's former scout, Mick Brown, explains why the Lilywhites may not find it easy to bring him in. Postecoglou does not appear to be under any immediate danger of the sack right now, with Tottenham choosing to persevere with the Australian through their horror run of form, which was partly down to the club's injury crisis. However, a number of reports over the last few weeks have suggested that should they decide to part ways with the Australian at the end of the season, Bournemouth's Andoni Iraola will be the man Tottenham turn to. It is easy to understand why the 42-year-old is such an attractive option for the North London side, given the style of football he has implemented at the Vitality Stadium and how much he has overachieved, with the Cherries currently battling for Champions League qualification. Andoni Iraola has been mentioned as a potential future Spurs manager. Under normal circumstances, you would expect a manager to jump at the chance of swapping Bournemouth for Spurs, but Brown believes that the South Coast club will do everything in their power to keep hold of the Spaniard. The former Tottenham scout, who remains well connected with many who work in the game, asserted that the Cherries have already started efforts to tie down their head coach and to convince him that he can fulfil his ambitions at the club. When asked about Tottenham's interest in Andoni Iraola, Brown told Football Insider, "Bournemouth will do everything in their power to keep him, not just because of any possible interest from Tottenham or Madrid, but more widely for the club. Andoni Iraola has done a fantastic job there since he arrived, and they'll want to keep that going." A club like Bournemouth, when you're in the Premier League and you find yourselves able to push a bit higher, you've got to try to maintain that. That means keeping continuity there with the manager and the players. If as soon as you get to where you're aiming to be, you lose your manager and have to start again, it can be a really difficult situation. From top to bottom, the club have to decide where they want to be. Everybody would say, we want to win games and be competitive. So then the question is, what are you willing to do to make that happen? In their case, that means keeping hold of their manager for the long-term future. I expect they'll already be speaking to him and working behind the scenes to reach an agreement because it's such an important deal for them to get done. Postecoglou's future at the club depends very much on how Tottenham do in the Europa League this season. The Australian has to take the club to the final four of the competition at the very least and finish in the top 8 to have any chance of being in the job at the start of next season. If he fails to deliver that, Iraola would be the obvious choice to replace him. But if the likes of Real Madrid come calling for the Basque-born coach, Tottenham may have to consider other options like Andoni Iraola. Arsenal surely have no chance of signing Bayern Munich striker Harry Kane, who would be more likely to return to Tottenham if he comes back to the Premier League. That's according to Charles Watts in his latest exclusive daily briefing column, with the journalist insisting some people are just putting 2 and 2 together and making 5 by linking Kane with Arsenal. The England international is a world-class centre-forward who would undoubtedly strengthen the Gunners, who need a top signing up front as soon as possible. Still, Kane is surely not realistic, even if he has a £65 million release clause at Bayern, according to Watts. Forget about Harry Kane to Arsenal transfer talk, says Charles Watts. The talk of Harry Kane and Arsenal just seems farcical to me, Watts said. People are just putting 2 and 2 together and coming out with 5. Yes, Arsenal need a striker, and yes, Harry Kane has a £65 million release clause that will become active in the summer. But come on, does anyone really believe that Arsenal is a likely destination? Kane wouldn't consider it, and even if he did, I don't think Arsenal would because of his age. He would be 32 by the time next season kicked off, so it's just not something the club would do. I can't see him leaving Bayern so soon anyway. Even if they do win the league this season, which looks very likely, I'm sure he will want to win even more over there before he does return to the Premier League. And when that does finally happen, I imagine it will be back to Spurs. Kane remains a legendary figure at Spurs and the team would certainly love to have him back at some point, although there also seems to be little reason for him to leave Bayern at the moment. But if he wants to return to England in the summer or in the next few transfer windows, there's only one destination, Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur could take advantage of a whirlwind story from the Champions League this week. in their pursuit to sign a wide attacker in the summer transfer window, with Atalanta star Ademola Lookman's criticism from manager Gianpiero Gasperini potentially opening the door to a return to the English capital. Lookman stepped up to the penalty spot in Atalanta's game against Club Brugge in midweek, missing his chance that would have dragged the Italian side to within 2 goals of their Belgian counterparts on aggregate. And despite scoring the goal to kickstart the comeback, his boss took aim at him. The winger has seen his Atalanta future turn upside down in recent days. Lookman's missed penalty certainly irked Gasperini, who blasted the winger by stating that the forward is one of the worst penalty takers he has ever seen, lambasting his frankly terrible record from 12 yards. And Lookman has since gone public to state how he feels deeply disrespected by his boss after his outburst. Lookman posted a statement on X, writing, "Being singled out in the manner I have been not only hurts but feels deeply disrespectful, not least because of the immense hard work and commitment I have always put in each and every day to help bring success to this club and to the incredible fans of Bergamo. In truth, I have dealt with many difficult moments during my time here, the majority of which I have never spoken about because in my opinion, the team must always be protected and must come first. This makes what happened last night even more hurtful." Subsequently, GiveMeSport sources said back in December that Tottenham were keeping a close eye on the Nigeria winger, having sent scouts to watch him in recent months. And despite failing to excel in the Premier League earlier in his career with Everton, Fulham and Leicester City, the attacker has improved massively since then, and big top-flight teams such as Tottenham are watching him as he continues to earn praise, being called unstoppable. We also told how Lookman's admirers were wondering whether he would be able to adapt to their systems, but Lookman was open to a return to England, which is encouraging for Tottenham, despite cautions over whether he'd be able to maintain his current levels outside of Atalanta's system, where he scored a hat-trick in the Europa League final. Juventus striker Dusan Vlahovic will be allowed to leave the Serie A club in the summer transfer window amid interest from Tottenham Hotspur, according to Calciomercato. The Serbia international has struggled for regular opportunities since Randal Kolo Muani's January arrival in Turin and appears to have no long-term future at the club, with his contract now down to its final 16 months. Calciomercato claims Juventus are looking to offload Vlahovic's hefty contract this summer and are willing to strike a deal in the region of £33 million. According to Calciomercato, Juventus were already open to selling Vlahovic in January, and 2 potential options were considered. The Bianconeri reportedly explored a swap deal with PSG involving the Serbian and Kolo Muani, but the move never materialised despite being pushed by agents and intermediaries. Another option was for Vlahovic to move to Saudi Arabia. Al Nassr reportedly showed interest in the 25-year-old, but he never considered the move as he wanted to continue his playing career in Europe. According to GiveMeSport sources, if Vlahovic opts for a Premier League move this summer, Tottenham could emerge as his most likely destination. The Lilywhites are reportedly frontrunners to sign the Serbian ahead of Chelsea and Arsenal, who remain uncertain about whether he fits their plans for the 2025-26 campaign. Vlahovic, praised as extraordinary by Federico Bernardeschi, has scored 13 goals and provided 2 assists in 30 appearances across all competitions this season, including 4 goals in the Champions League. That's it for today's update. If you liked the video and want to keep up with everything Tottenham, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for our latest content. Remember to give this video a thumbs up and share it with other Spurs fans. Let's build our Tottenham News Today community together. Thanks for watching, and as always, come on you Spurs.